If you've ever watched a deserted island movie like Castaway or Lord of the Flies and thought, I wish that was me, chanting, kill the pig, slit her throat, spill her blood. Well, have I ever got a game for you? Robinson Crusoe, Adventures on the Cursed Island is a fantastic cooperative slow death simulator for 1 to 4 players in which you will work together with your fellow shipwreck survivors to beat one of 7 scenarios that could find you outrunning an erupting volcano, performing an exorcism, or even attempting to film King Kong in his native habitat. You have your pick of 4 characters, each with different survival skills, to fight against the overwhelmingly unfair odds. The game lasts for 8 to 12 rounds, and you will lose either if you fail to complete the scenario objective before the end of the final round, or if any of the characters dies, which is way more likely. Rounds are comprised of 6 phases, most of which are rife with opportunity for the game to screw you over. Characters have 2 action pawns each, which can be allocated either to the same action to guarantee its success, or to different actions, which requires you to roll a set of dice and inevitably suffer some kind of horrible misfortune. Let's say my camp is here. I want to explore here. I have 1 action pawn, so I'll need to roll these dice. I got a success, which is great. I can uncover a new tile, but I also rolled a question mark, which means I need to have an adventure. So I'll just draw a card, and it's a choice between sleeping outside the camp and taking damage, or shuffling the card into the event deck and hoping not to get attacked by the puma. The event deck itself is a constant source of misery, as many of these cards can provide persistent bad effects unless you use one of your limited actions to discard them. Robinson Crusoe is a game of constantly planning ahead and doing your best to mitigate bad luck, but all it takes is failing just 1 die roll or drawing just 1 bad card, and everything starts falling apart at once. If you don't stop the otters from stealing your food, you can't gather food to eat, and if you can't eat, you lose health. But if you use an action to fight off the otters, you aren't using an action to rebuild your shelter's roof after a storm blew it down. And if you don't have a roof, you lose wood in bad weather, but you need the wood to build a fire to alert a ship to your presence on the island and win the game, but you also need the wood to build a palisade to keep out the wild animals. But you can't spare an action to build the palisade because you need the action to explore the island because you need to find a mountain to build a hatchet so you can get enough wood to build the fire, and you could have handled everything just fine if it wasn't for those fucking otters! Robinson Crusoe is not a game that everyone will enjoy. There's a ton of bad random shit that just happens to you, and your ability to tolerate it depends a great deal on your willingness to immerse yourself in the game's thematic richness and emergent narrative. This is a game you can tell stories about afterwards. Remember when you found that old cutlass and used it to hunt that wild boar that provided just enough food to get us through that final round? That was so bitchin'! Fans of Eldritch Horror will likely love Robinson Crusoe for its brutally capricious gameplay and card-driven plot morsels, and fans of games like Spirit Island or Mage Knight will love the opportunities for crunchy strategizing and resource management. It's an excellent solo game, especially if you run multiple characters, and best doggo boy. But I could see Robinson Crusoe as being great in a small group as well, as long as nobody is prone to analysis paralysis or quarterbacking. I absolutely love shit like this, so this one's gonna have a permanent home on my game shelf. And maybe one day I'll actually stave off death long enough to win at least 1 time. Robinson Crusoe, Adventures on the Cursed Island. What a good game. But also seriously, fuck this game.